Hey everyone, welcome back to Bix Book Summary. I'm Bix, and today we're diving into a book that completely changes the way we understand love and relationships. Attached by Dr. Amir Levine and Rachel Heller. Have you ever found yourself in a relationship where you constantly worried about whether your partner truly loved you? Maybe you checked your phone every few minutes, hoping for a response, or felt uneasy when they didn't seem as invested as you were. Or perhaps you've been on the other side, wanting connection, but feeling suffocated when a partner expected too much, making you crave space and independence. If any of this sounds familiar, you're not alone. The way we experience love isn't random. It's wired into us from childhood. This book explains why we behave the way we do in relationships and, more importantly, how we can break free from unhealthy cycles to create fulfilling, lasting connections. Dr. Amir Levine and Rachel Heller, Attachment Theory, a psychological framework that explains how we connect with others based on 3 distinct attachment styles: secure, anxious, and avoidant. These styles shape how we communicate, handle conflict, and experience intimacy. But here's the good news. Your attachment style is not set in stone. Once you understand it, you can start making small but powerful changes that help you build stronger, healthier relationships. In this video, we're going to explore what attachment styles are, why some relationships feel like an emotional battlefield, and how you can shift toward a more secure, fulfilling love life. So get comfortable, and let's dive into the fascinating psychology of love and relationships. Before we talk about how to improve relationships, we need to understand why we love the way we do. According to Attached, our attachment style forms in early childhood, shaped by how our caregivers responded to our emotional needs. These patterns don't just disappear as we grow up. They follow us into our romantic relationships, influencing how we bond with partners. Take a moment to imagine a toddler playing in a park. A securely attached child explores freely, occasionally looking back to check that their caregiver is nearby. They trust that if they need comfort, it will be given. Now, picture a different child, one who clings tightly to their caregiver, afraid of being left behind. Even when encouraged to explore, they hesitate, feeling uncertain about whether their caregiver will still be there. Lastly, imagine a third child who appears indifferent, as if they don't care whether their caregiver is present or not. They keep their distance, avoiding eye contact, seemingly unaffected by the presence or absence of their parent. These early behaviors are the foundation of what will later become our attachment styles in adulthood. As adults, securely attached individuals feel comfortable with both intimacy and independence. They trust their partners, communicate openly, and handle conflicts without fear of abandonment. Those with an anxious attachment style, however, crave constant reassurance and often overanalyze their partner's words and actions, fearing disconnection. Meanwhile, avoidantly attached individuals resist deep emotional closeness, prioritizing their independence and withdrawing when a relationship starts feeling too intense. Imagine you're dating someone new. A securely attached person will enjoy the relationship for what it is, expressing affection and trust without second-guessing things. An anxiously attached person, on the other hand, might find themselves overanalyzing every text message, worried that a delayed response signals fading interest. Avoidant individuals may feel warm and affectionate one moment, only to suddenly pull away, creating emotional distance to maintain a sense of control. Once you recognize your own attachment style, you gain a powerful tool for self-awareness. You begin to understand why you react a certain way in relationships, and instead of being trapped in unhealthy patterns, you can start making conscious choices that lead to healthier, more fulfilling connections. With this awareness, love becomes less about uncertainty and more about creating a secure and balanced partnership. Now that we understand attachment styles, let's talk about one of the most common and emotionally draining relationship dynamics: the anxious avoidant trap. This painful cycle occurs when someone with an anxious attachment style falls for someone who is avoidant. One partner desperately seeks connection, while the other instinctively pulls away. It's like a dance where one person moves forward just as the other steps back, creating a frustrating pattern that leaves both partners feeling misunderstood and emotionally drained. Tamara and Greg are a perfect example of this dynamic. Tamara, with her anxious attachment style, thrives on emotional closeness. She loves deep conversations, constant check-ins, and frequent displays of affection. For her, love means togetherness, knowing that her partner is always available and engaged. Greg, on the other hand, has an avoidant attachment style. He values independence and space. While he enjoys being in a relationship, too much emotional intensity feels overwhelming. When things start feeling serious, he withdraws, not because he doesn't care, but because closeness makes him feel like he's losing control. At first, their relationship is thrilling. Tamara is drawn to Greg's confidence and self-sufficiency, mistaking his emotional distance for mystery and depth. Greg appreciates Tamara's affection and enthusiasm, enjoying how much she cares for him. But as the honeymoon phase fades, their differences become more pronounced. Tamara starts texting Greg throughout the day, hoping to feel connected. When he takes hours to respond, she grows anxious, wondering if she did something wrong. Greg, feeling suffocated by the constant messages, starts taking even longer to reply. Tamara panics and calls him, needing reassurance. Greg, now overwhelmed, says he needs space. Tamara feels heartbroken. The more Greg pulls away, the harder she tries to bring him back, believing that if she just loves him enough, he'll finally open up. But Greg only feels more trapped. To him, Tamara's emotional intensity confirms his fear that relationships are restrictive, so he withdraws further. And so the cycle continues, each of them reinforcing the other's worst fears. Tamara believes she's too much to handle, while Greg convinces himself that love means giving up his independence. They're caught in an emotional tug-of-war, exhausting each other in the process. But here's the reality. Neither of them is wrong for wanting what they want. They just have incompatible attachment styles. Dr. Levine and Heller explain that anxious and avoidant individuals are often drawn to each other because their patterns feel familiar. Anxiously attached people are used to inconsistency in love, so when an avoidant partner pulls away, it only reinforces what they've always feared, that love is unpredictable. Avoidantly attached people, on the other hand, feel validated in their belief that relationships are suffocating, and they retreat further to regain control. The good news is that once you recognize this pattern, you can begin to break free from it. Anxiously attached individuals can learn to self-soothe and choose partners who offer consistency rather than emotional hot and cold behavior. Avoidance can work on opening up emotionally and understanding that intimacy doesn't have to feel like a loss of freedom. More importantly, both partners need to communicate their needs openly instead of reacting out of fear. Tamara can express, "I feel disconnected when we don't check in throughout the day. Can we find a middle ground that works for both of us?" Greg, instead of retreating in silence, can say, "I need alone time to recharge, but that doesn't mean I don't care about you." By understanding and addressing these differences, relationships don't have to feel like a battlefield. Instead of being stuck in a cycle of chasing and retreating, both partners can create a secure, balanced connection. One built on mutual understanding rather than fear and frustration. Now that we've uncovered the emotional chaos of the anxious avoidant trap, let's flip the script and explore what a healthy relationship actually looks like. If anxious and avoidant attachment styles create stress and uncertainty, secure attachment brings a sense of peace, trust, and emotional stability. People with secure attachment don't play games, second-guess their partner's intentions, or feel the need to prove their worth in relationships. They know how to give and receive love without fear, creating an environment where both partners feel valued and understood. Take Olivia and Ben, for example. From the moment they started dating, their relationship felt easy. Olivia never had to wonder whether Ben would call her back, or if he was secretly pulling away. When she needed support, she didn't hesitate to ask for it, and Ben responded with warmth and reassurance. There were no emotional guessing games, no moments of silent punishment, no fear that expressing a need would push the other person away. Their relationship wasn't built on anxiety or avoidance. It was built on mutual understanding and emotional safety. One evening, after a long and stressful day at work, Olivia felt overwhelmed. Instead of bottling up her emotions, she simply told Ben, "I feel so drained today. I could really use some time to unwind together." Ben, rather than feeling pressured or seeing this as a demand, responded with, "Let's order in and have a relaxing night. You don't have to go through this alone." This simple interaction may not seem extraordinary, but it's a perfect example of secure attachment in action. Olivia wasn't afraid to express what she needed, and Ben, feeling safe and appreciated in the relationship, responded with understanding. There was no tension, no passive-aggressive behavior, no unspoken resentment, just two people supporting each other in a natural and healthy way. Dr. Levine and Heller emphasize that secure individuals see relationships as a source of comfort, not stress. They don't avoid conflict, but they also don't see every disagreement as a sign that the relationship is falling apart. They communicate clearly, address issues calmly, and don't run away when things get difficult. Secure attachment allows for emotional flexibility, where partners can navigate life's challenges together without feeling threatened or overwhelmed. And here's the best part. You don't have to be born with a secure attachment style to develop one. Even if you've struggled with anxious or avoidant tendencies, you can actively train yourself to build healthier relationship patterns. By practicing open communication, learning to regulate your emotions, and choosing partners who value consistency and security, you can move closer to the kind of love that feels safe, balanced, and deeply fulfilling. Developing secure attachment is not about being perfect, but about making conscious choices that foster trust, emotional stability, and genuine connection. Understanding your attachment style is one thing, but learning to manage your emotional triggers is what truly transforms the way you experience relationships. Triggers are those moments when something unexpectedly sets off a deep emotional response, causing anxiety, fear, or withdrawal. They often stem from past experiences, and if left unchecked, they can lead to destructive behaviors that push people away. Rachel, for example, had always struggled with anxious attachment. She desperately wanted to feel loved and valued, but every time her boyfriend Mike didn't reply to her texts right away, her mind would spiral into worst-case scenarios. Maybe he's losing interest. Maybe he's tired of me. What if he's talking to someone else? One day, Rachel sent Mike a message in the morning and didn't hear back for hours. By lunchtime, she was fighting the urge to send a follow-up text, even though deep down, she knew she was overreacting. When Mike finally responded later that afternoon with a casual, "Hey, sorry I was swamped with work today. How's your day?" Rachel was already filled with anxiety and frustration. Instead of responding warmly, she snapped, "Oh, so you finally decided to text me back?" This reaction put unnecessary tension on the relationship. Mike, who had genuinely just been busy, felt attacked and misunderstood. This is how attachment triggers create problems. They turn small, innocent situations into emotional minefields. Dr. Levine and Heller suggest a simple but powerful technique to manage these emotional landmines. Pause before reacting. Whenever you feel a sudden emotional surge, whether it's anxiety, fear, or resentment, take a deep breath and ask yourself, am I reacting based on what's actually happening, or am I responding to a past fear? Will this response bring me closer to my partner or push them away? What's a secure way I can express my feelings without making assumptions? For Rachel, this meant shifting from, "Why are you ignoring me?" to, "Hey, I missed hearing from you today. Hope everything's okay." This small change helped her express her needs without accusing or creating unnecessary tension. The key to breaking free from attachment triggers is awareness and self-regulation. When you learn to manage your emotional responses, you stop letting past wounds dictate your present relationships, allowing love to unfold in a healthier and more secure way. At this point, you might be thinking, this all sounds great, but how do I actually change my attachment style? The good news is that while attachment styles are shaped by early experiences, they are not set in stone. With self-awareness and conscious effort, you can move toward a more secure way of loving and being loved. One of the most effective ways to shift your attachment style is by choosing a partner who fosters emotional security. If you have an anxious attachment style, constantly chasing someone who is avoidant will only reinforce your deepest fears of abandonment. Likewise, if you are avoidant, being with someone who always demands more closeness can make you feel suffocated. Instead, secure partners help bring balance and stability. Let's look at how Tamara's dating life changed when she met Alex. After years of being caught in the anxious avoidant cycle, Tamara decided to be more intentional about her relationships. She recognized her anxious tendencies and committed to seeking a partner who offered emotional consistency rather than unpredictability. Then she met Alex. From the beginning, Alex made it clear that he cared about her. He didn't play mind games, disappear without explanation, or send mixed signals. When Tamara felt anxious, instead of pulling away, Alex reassured her in a calm, steady way that made her feel safe. Over time, she began to trust that love didn't have to feel like an emotional roller coaster. This is the power of secure relationships. They heal the wounds of the past by providing emotional consistency, honesty, and stability. However, building security in relationships isn't just about choosing the right partner. It's also about shifting how you engage in love. Practicing clear communication can make a significant difference. Instead of hinting, expecting your partner to read your mind, or suppressing your emotions, it helps to express your needs directly. For example, rather than saying, "You never make time for me," you might say, "I miss spending time together. Can we plan a date night?" Challenging negative assumptions is another essential step. If your partner doesn't respond right away or seems distant, it's important to pause before assuming the worst and remind yourself that your fears are not facts. Developing self-soothing strategies can also be incredibly beneficial. Learning to manage anxiety independently, rather than relying solely on a partner for reassurance, helps build emotional resilience. Techniques like meditation, journaling, and deep breathing can help regulate emotions and provide a sense of stability. Setting and maintaining boundaries is equally crucial. Secure relationships thrive on mutual respect, and if something makes you uncomfortable, addressing it early prevents resentment from building over time. By consistently practicing these behaviors, you train your brain to embrace secure love, even if it wasn't something you experienced in the past. Through conscious effort and the right emotional support, it is entirely possible to move beyond past patterns and cultivate a relationship that feels safe, stable, and fulfilling. Now that we've explored how to identify attachment styles and build a secure relationship, it's just as important to understand how to maintain emotional security over time. Love isn't just about finding the right person. It's about continuously nurturing the relationship so that both partners feel safe, valued, and appreciated. Even in the healthiest relationships, life happens. Stress builds, work pressures increase, and personal challenges arise. Without conscious effort, these outside stressors can chip away at emotional connection, making even the most secure relationships feel unstable. Imagine Mark and Emma. When they first started dating, everything felt effortless. They communicated well, spent quality time together, and supported each other's goals. But as their careers became more demanding, they began spending less time together. Emma, who had worked hard to develop secure attachment habits, started feeling disconnected. She noticed that Mark was no longer as affectionate as he used to be, and instead of assuming the worst, she chose to communicate openly. One evening, instead of letting frustration build up, Emma said, "I've been feeling a little distant from you lately, and I miss the time we used to spend together. Can we plan a weekend just for us?" Mark, rather than becoming defensive, acknowledged how she felt and agreed that they had both been caught up in their routines. That weekend, they put their phones away, focused on each other, and rekindled the intimacy that had started to slip away. This small moment highlights a crucial lesson. In order to keep a relationship secure, you have to be proactive. Dr. Levine and Heller emphasize that consistent communication is key. Healthy couples check in with each other regularly, even when life gets busy. They don't assume their partner just knows how they feel. Instead, they make an effort to express appreciation, resolve concerns early, and keep their emotional connection strong. Emotional responsiveness is another essential ingredient for secure attachment. Feeling heard and understood strengthens the bond between partners, and the way you respond to your partner's concerns matters more than you might think. Instead of dismissing their feelings, showing empathy and acknowledging their emotions reinforces trust and emotional safety. Prioritizing the relationship is just as important. Just like anything else in life, relationships require intentional effort. Secure couples make time for one another, whether it's through a weekly date night, small daily check-ins, or simply expressing gratitude for one another. These small yet meaningful actions help ensure that love doesn't fade into the background of daily responsibilities. The difference between an emotionally lasting relationship and one that slowly deteriorates isn't just love, it's effort. When both partners actively work toward security, the relationship deepens rather than fades over time. Through conscious communication, emotional presence, and prioritizing the relationship, love can remain strong, fulfilling, and deeply connected, even in the face of life's inevitable challenges. Not all relationships are meant to last, and one of the most empowering lessons in Attached is learning how to recognize when to stay and when to walk away. Many people remain in unhealthy relationships because they mistake emotional intensity for love. The highs and lows, the grand romantic gestures followed by sudden withdrawal, it all feels so consuming that they believe it must be real love. But in reality, healthy love isn't chaotic. It's consistent, predictable, and safe. Lisa, for example, had spent years in a relationship with someone who constantly sent mixed signals. One moment, he was affectionate and attentive, making her feel like the center of his world. The next, he became distant, making her question whether she was asking for too much when she expressed her needs. Every time she reached a breaking point and thought about leaving, he would pull her back in just enough to convince her to stay. The cycle continued, leaving her emotionally drained and insecure. It wasn't until Lisa learned about attachment styles that she realized she wasn't the problem. She was simply in a toxic pattern with someone who couldn't meet her emotional needs. Instead of chasing validation from a person incapable of providing security, she made the difficult but necessary decision to walk away. Dr. Levine and Heller highlight key signs that help distinguish whether a relationship is worth investing in or whether it's time to let go. One of the most telling signs is whether your partner makes you feel safe and valued or leaves you constantly questioning your worth. If you find yourself feeling like you have to prove your value in the relationship, it's often a sign that emotional security is lacking. Another crucial factor is communication. A healthy partner doesn't shut down or avoid difficult conversations. They are willing to work through challenges rather than run from them. They understand that relationships require effort and emotional availability, and they show up when it matters most. It's also important to consider whether the relationship is bringing out the best in you or making you feel anxious and insecure. Love should add to your life, not leave you feeling like you're constantly walking on eggshells. When you learn to recognize what a healthy relationship looks like, you stop chasing the wrong people and start investing in relationships that actually fulfill you. Love isn't just about chemistry, it's about compatibility. And when you choose the right person, love becomes something that uplifts and strengthens you, rather than something that drains and confuses you. Letting go of a relationship that no longer serves you isn't a failure. It's an act of self-respect, a step toward finding the kind of love that is steady, secure, and truly fulfilling. Attached by Dr. Amir Levine and Rachel Heller is more than just a book. It's a relationship roadmap that reveals why love feels effortless for some while complicated for others. It teaches us that healthy love isn't just about finding the right person, it's about cultivating emotional security within ourselves. The biggest takeaway from this book is that love should never feel like an emotional guessing game. When you understand your attachment style, you stop falling into toxic relationship patterns, and you gain the power to reshape the way you experience love. If you've ever felt like you're too much, not enough, or constantly drawn to the wrong people, know this: you are not broken. You've simply been operating from a relationship blueprint that can be rewritten. The best part is that change is within your control. By practicing better communication, becoming aware of your emotional triggers, and choosing partners who value emotional security, you can build a love that feels safe, effortless, and deeply fulfilling. If this summary resonated with you, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Bix Book Summary. If you want to support the channel and grab a copy of Attached, check out the link in the description. I truly appreciate it, and I'd love to hear from you. Tell me in the comments, what's your attachment style, and what's one lesson you've learned about love? Your insights might help someone else on their journey. I hope this summary has given you clarity and insight into why relationships feel the way they do. If you found it valuable, you might also enjoy book breakdowns on topics like boundaries, emotional intelligence, and personal growth. Let me know if there's another book you'd love me to summarize. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next life-changing book summary. Until next time, stay secure, stay curious, and remember, you deserve a love that feels safe. See you in the next one.